Shabbat Shalom and welcome. Thank you for being here, those of you that are in person. Thank you for being here, those of you joining us online. I mentioned in my email earlier today that because it is not only Shabbat this evening, but also that we're coming in from Sukkot, that our Friday evening service actually gets briefer. So often when we have a holiday, and in fact our Saturday morning service will be longer, but our Friday evening service is briefer, and the reason is that much of our Friday evening service, Kabbalat Shabbat, is to mark a transition spiritually from the regular of the week to elevate ourselves to Shabbat. But because we're coming from a week that is the week of Sukkot, the holiday that we are currently in the midst of, and that puts us kind of at a spiritual plane that is higher than a regular weekday, the rabbis determined, our sages determined in developing our prayers that we don't actually need all of the different psalms that we typically would do on a Friday night to bring us into the Shabbat spirit, and we can start right away from the psalm for Shabbat. And so that's what we will do on page 27 in our red Sidur Lev Shalem is where we begin this evening.
זמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח, צדיק כתמר יפרח, צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח, צדיק כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה. שתולים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולתה בו.
We turn to page 29, Psalm 93.
אדוני מקולות מים רבים אדירים משמרי ים אדיר במרום אדוני עדותיך נאמנו מאוד לביתך נאווה קודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
We turn to page 30 for the mourners Kaddish. Mourners and those observing a yard site, rise in body or spirit, joining with me in these words. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba be'alma divra kerutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizaman kariv ve'imeru amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevorach le'alam ul'omei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chagim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'maromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshevei tevel ve'imeru amen. You may be seated. Shabbat shalom, Chag sameach, moadim l'simcha. It's wonderful to be with all of you here in our sanctuary and also to be with you online. Jack and Joy and so many others. Know that your presence is felt with all of us here in the sanctuary this evening. Friends, earlier today, I made my way, actually for the very first time I went to Westworld. The home show is going on right now. Hey, Barbara and Steve, I see that you're here as well. The home show is going on right now. And so Charlene and I went to check it out, walked over from here at the synagogue for a couple hours, and got a lecture from an expert on closets and kitchens about current trends in these matters. And if I had to summarize what this person said most about kitchens, is that the color that is coming in right now for your kitchen is brown. And that this is fascinating because 5 years ago, he said, no one wanted brown. Everyone was trying to get rid of brown. That in fact, right now, if you look at cabinets that sold in the last year, more than 95% were white face cabinets. Of cabinets in your kitchen might be white too. That most kitchens now are whites, blacks, and grays. He showed examples from photos that just putting a flower pot of a particular color for a pop of color makes your kitchen feel different and look different. And that adding color can make a difference, but in particular, that the colors that seemed so old-fashioned not so long ago, right, that were in every kitchen in, say, the 50s and the 60s, that those colors are coming back. Maybe older than that, right? And for those of you, forgive me if that just made you feel old when I suggested that as being a long time ago. Avocado green. He mentioned the avocado green. Harvest orange, is that right? Harvest gold. Okay, and I am confident that these colors are also making a comeback. And in fact, he showed us some different gold and oranges. Orange is the most popular pop of color right now in new kitchens, which is probably because, I don't know, it seems hideous to me, but different people have different tastes. And one of the things that he advised is, make your kitchen what you love. But the thing that's interesting about this, he was talking about the different trends in tiles and granites and all the different kitchen features. And the way in which, what he said is, if what you currently have in your kitchen isn't in trend, wait 5 years and there's a good chance it will be in trend, right? And what happens is there's a cycle of everybody updating their kitchens and bathrooms and closets in certain specific ways, and then that becoming what everything looks like, right? What every kitchen in HGTV remodel shows looks like suddenly, and then that becomes so normal and you want something different, and people go back to the trend that existed before, and that there's this cycle that exists. So Keith's takeaways was one, that brown is apparently in. Not my favorite color, but for a long time it was my son's favorite color. Might still be his. Archer approves. He likes brown, color of chocolate, absolutely. And I was thinking about brown being in, and in particular about exposed woods, which they were focusing on how everybody loves a deep walnut right now, and no one should paint walnut because it's walnut. Wow! And different kinds of hardwoods. And I was thinking about the construction project that we engage in collectively as a Jewish people for this week. And how, even though there are different bottles of Sukkot and Sukkot kits and other things that you can find, the sukkah never goes out of style, and sukkahs today aren't that different from sukkahs from whenever we were children, sukkahs from when our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents were children, all the way going back to the beginning of Sukkot, when the Israelites traveled in the wilderness and built huts with skach that may not have been bamboo mats or palm fronds, but were still nonetheless quite similar to what we dwell in now. And I was thinking about the juxtaposition of being in this home show where everybody is selling and trying to express why their product is the best and how you can update and make your home beautiful, to the timelessness of the fashion that is our sukkah. That God, thousands of years ago, sheltered our ancestors, and that we mirror that by going out of our homes, realizing that so often the things that surround us, the walls that are around us, we think that we're protected, but the truth is, every one of us lives in a vulnerability, and we remind ourselves of that by stepping out into the sukkah each and every year, realizing that our protection and that our fates are only partially in our own hand, and that there is also something that is beyond us, that we also depend on the grace and love of God. and that God shelters us just as God sheltered our ancestors. It's one of the reasons that a sukkah must have sufficient gaps in the schach, that while it provides more shade than sun, you have to be able to see the stars to realize that there's something bigger out there. You have to be able to see the stars, and if there's a gap big enough that you can see the stars, there's a gap big enough for raindrops to get you wet if you're in the sukkah, and for you to retreat inside and to realize that there is a vulnerability that exists for all of us. And so thinking about the way in which we try to create and fashion our space in a way that we like, versus the way in which we decorate and dwell in our sukkot, fashioned even with the unique and particular decorations that we have, in a way that is consistent with what our ancestors did for years and years and years, going all the way back, that fashion has never changed, that we still recognize that just as our ancestors were on a journey, that we are on a journey. And that the way in which we make our way through this world isn't by our hand alone, but in relationship with a God who guides us, who blesses us, and who blesses us with the whole world that's present with us. I've shared before that there's a degree to which the sukkah and its vulnerability is a metaphor for life, that it's rickety and uncertain, and that it begins at a certain point and comes to an end. But I want to say that I think the sukkah is also a reflection of our relationship with that which is beyond us. And it exposes us to the elements, to able to sensitize us to those who don't have the shelters and privileges and the beautiful things like the sanctuary that we dwell in, or like any of the things that they were selling at the home show. So may your home be a place that is filled with what you find to be beautiful, and may your sukkah be filled with beauty as well, as we all recognize that there are things within our control, but also moments where we must let go and realize that there are things beyond us, and trust that God will guide us through the wilderness. Shabbat shalom, moadim l'simcha, chag sameach. And now, we turn to the Baruch Hu, page 39. Please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
And we are seated. Baruch Adonai.
Umavir yom umevi laila, mavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvahot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chaleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv ad avim.
Page 40.
Avat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta Torah mitzvot. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, v'hem negei yomam v'layla v'ahavatcha, al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Page 41.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meotecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha, Hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha v'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'aderech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvish arecha ve'aya im shemot tishma'u mitzvotai. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor. Adonai Elohechem Emet Be'emunah v'chuzot B'shvii ki yavtzat v'gati Umalchuto v'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe Miriam u'bnei Yisrael L'chanu shira v'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam
44.
Ya bye bye bim bim bam ya bye bye bim bam ya bye bye bim bim bam ya bye bye bim bam ya bye 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 ya bye bye bim bam ya bye 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 ya bye bye bim bam Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedad b'kodesh Nora tehilot o sefele Nora tehilot o sefele Mahalechutecha ra'u vanecha Bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'eli, anu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Ya bye bye bim bim bam Ya bye bye bim bam Ya bye bye bim bim bam Ya bye bye bim bam Ya bye 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 Ya bye bye bim bam Ya bye 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 Ya bye bye bim bam V'nemar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov Ugehalo miyad chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Hoshkiven. Page 45.
Ushmor tzeitenu voenu lechaim u'leshalom me'atah ve'ad olam ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai, apores sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 46, we rise for Vishamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Oti le'olam Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vaynafash Shabbat vaynafash Shabbat vayinafash Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba
Amen.
Ve'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechonu v'yamechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam u'lamei omaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach ve'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam ve'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha
Berichu
le'ela min kol birchata ve'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen.
We turn to page 47 for the Friday night Amidah recite and silent standing devotion. We add the special inclusion on page 50 for Chol HaMoed Sukkot. Yalev Yavov Yagiv Ve'erev Eretz Vishmak. Chag HaSukkot Zeh Zochrinu Anay L'Nabol Tavav. Shalom B'Mrama Kadmoni
Oh, shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Oh, shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen.
We now offer a special prayer of healing.
Mi shebeirach avoteinu Mekor habracha lavotenu. May the source
Bless
Bless
the ones before us. Help us find the courage
to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who brought healing to Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those for whom we now pray, including David ben Gila, Malka bat Hadassah, Peril bat Zipporah, David ben Barbara, Natan ben Tova, Yerachmiel Lev ben Yocheved, Shoshana Sharon bat Chana, David ben Yamin ben Batya, Batya bat Sarah, Shmuel Velvel ben Devora, Malka Devora bat Chana Shifra, Yosef ben Ruth Sarah, Sandy Barnett, Chaya bat Devora, Bluma Binder, Chaim Yisrael ben Vichna, Ina Shir, Bob Satz, Harav Feivel Hendel ben Belka, Malka bat Miriam, David ben Elisha, Ari Kenny, Yonatzvia Cohen ben Hinda, Yitzchak ben Gittel, Therese Lank, Laor Yisrael ben Rachel, Bat Erivka bat Sufia, Pat Zalotnik, John Granick, Aviva Chana bat Tova Tikva, Marty Cohen, Leib Aron ben Ada, Victoria bat Pesha, Fega Bracha bat Michal, David ben Leah, Yudit bat Chana, Eliyahu ben Shoshana, Rivka Shendel bat Chana, Shalom ben Pesel, Chaim Michael ben Yocheved, Eliyahu David ben Yehudit Chana, Shira bat Chaya, Anna Boardman, Chaya bat Rella, Rafal Chaim ben Sylvia, Saravita bat Esther, Perla bat Esther, and Barak ben Bracha, and all others for whom we pray. May the Holy One restore them to fullness of health, of body, of mind, and of spirit, blessing them, all those dedicated to their care, and all others journeying towards recovery and healing.
Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. And let us say, Amen.
We rise as we turn to Aleinu on page 56.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'god aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shem hashamayim yoseh atzmo shemikado v'shmayim imo. Kakatuv b'toratecha, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
You may be seated as we turn to the Psalm for the season, page 59.
LeDavid Adonai uri bishimimid Adonai ma'oz chayai mimi efchad bekado v'lamera'im lechol epesari tzarei. Achat shalti met Adonai ota avakesh. Achat shalti met Adonai ota avakesh. Shifty, 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 woo! Shifty beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai, kol yemei chayai. Lachazot benoam Adonai uvaker behechalo. Lachazot benoam Adonai uvaker behechalo. Shifty, 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 woo! Shifty beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai, kol Kitz Peneni Besuka B'Yom Ra.
Besuka B'Yom Ra.
Luleihem mantilirot betuv Adonai be'eretz chaim kaveh el Adonai chazak v'yametz libecha v'kaveh el Adonai.
This week, our community recognizes the yahrzeits of Max Efron, David Efron's father, Rose Ansel, Marvin Ansel's mother, Sylvia Carpin, Sandy Carpin's mother, Ira Shapiro, Pamela Menton's father, Louis Pudnos, Shirley Pudnos' father-in-law, Reuben Mitz, Elaine Glazer's father, Millie Kaufman, Phyllis Weinstein's mother, Donna Altstatter, Stuart Altstatter's mother, James Cam, Megan Jalowick's grandfather, Russ Finkelstein, Reagan Finkelstein's father, Albert Rosenberg, Bracha Etger's significant other, Arnold Oblonsky, Elise Plattner's father, B. Turkin, Francine Weingast and Marlene Einfeld's mother, Howard Eamon, Michael Eamon's father, and Jacob Lefstein, Geraldine Hyman's grandfather. We also recognize as a community the passing of Betty Smigel, who left this world this past Wednesday and was laid to rest earlier today. She's, of course, the mother of Carrie Landy, and her and Howard, who passed last year, were both pillars of this community. May their memories be a blessing. Of course, due to the holiday, Shiva will not begin until after Simchat Torah. Mourners and those observing Yahrzeit, please rise in body or spirit at this time and join with me in the words of Kaddish on page 58. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra kerutei v'yamelich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zaman kariv v'imeru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevorach, le'alam ul'omei ul'maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpawar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudsha barich hu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imeru, amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya b'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru, amen. Oseh shalom bimeromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshevei tevel, ve'imeru, amen. It's now my pleasure to invite Michael Portnoy, treasurer of our congregation, to share this evening's announcements. Let's not pass out grape juice or cookies because we will do them in the sukkah.
Shabbat shalom. What can Brown do for you? Thank you, Rabbi Green and Cantor Rubinstein, for leading us in Shabbat services tonight. Thank you, Marie, for your technical assistance. The Or Tzion office will be closed Monday and Tuesday, October 17th and 18th, in observance of Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah. This weekend is Phoenix Pride. We will celebrate inclusivity at our Pride Shabbat tomorrow morning, and please check the e-bulletin for details about marching in the Phoenix Pride Parade on Sunday. Shmini Atzeret services, including Yizkor, will take place Sunday at 6 p.m. and Monday at 9:30 a.m. And don't miss our Simchat Torah celebration on Monday evening. This is very important. Our mini Scholar in Residence weekend featuring Rabbi Ed Feinstein is next Friday and Saturday. If you haven't heard Ed Feinstein speak, this will be a real treat for you. Please join services Friday night and Saturday morning. And if you plan to attend the Kiddush lunch, kindly RSVP at otaz.org/LVS Kiddush. The Socialites Game Night is coming up on October 23rd at 4 p.m. Register by this weekend at otaz.org/socialites game night. And then we have Hooked on Books, and they'll be meeting October 30th at 4 p.m. in the social hall. And of course, not of course, but you should, if you still have time, you can place your deposit for the trip to Israel with Rabbi Green. Information is found on the website, or you can ask this fellow over on my left what's going on. Nice tie, by the way. Please check the weekly e-bulletin for links to these announcements and events. Go to the website for important information on services, programs, and upcoming committee meetings. Shabbat Shalom, and to all online, very nice. Thank you for, hundreds of you for visiting with us tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was beautiful. Since we'll be doing Kiddush and Mizonot in the Sukkah for Sukkot, Cantor, how do you want to wrap up tonight? What song are we going to rock?
The one that I love to rock this time of year.
Oh, yeah?
ושמחת
בחגך והיית אך שמח ושמחת בחגך והיית אך שמח ושמחת בחגך והיית אך שמח ושמחת בחגך והיית אך שמח
ושמחת בחגך
והיית אך שמח ושמחת בחגך והיית אך שמח אדוני עוז לנו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום שבת שלום חג שמח מועדים לשמחה.
חגים וזמנים לששון.
Thanks for being with us. And those of you that are here in person,